It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call.
That was the famous 2008 Democratic primary ad challenging Barack Obama's ability to handle the 3 a.m. phone call. That ability is no longer in doubt. The new Washington Post ABC News poll shows that President Obama has solid support as the guy America wants on our end of the 3 a.m. phone call. When asked, who do you trust to handle international affairs, President Obama has a 17-point advantage over Mitt Romney, 55-38. And when asked, who do you trust to handle terrorism, the Democratic president has virtually the same advantage over Mitt Romney, 54-38. Joining me now is Steve Clemens, the Washington editor-at-large for The Atlantic. He's also a senior fellow at the New America Foundation. Steve, it sounds like this weekend may have had one or two 3 a.m. phone calls. In Syria today, the U.S. Embassy was closed. President Obama ordered it closed in Damascus. If that situation gets any hotter, it's not just bad news for the world. It's not just a difficult day at the White House. But it's actually, in campaign terms and political terms, very bad news for those Republican presidential candidates who don't seem to know how to talk about this sort of thing.
Well, not many of them are challenging the president on his record of going after and succeeding in killing Osama bin Laden or al-Awlaki in Yemen, or dealing with many of the very tough issues that are out there. And, you know, what they do hit him on are things that sometimes, leave Americans really dumbfounded. When you hear Mitt Romney, opposing the downsizing of forces in Afghanistan or the steps that the president has taken in Iraq, what you see Obama doing is what he said he would do, which is basically moving in these places, stabilizing Iraq and Afghanistan, downsizing the place where I've been critical and saying that we've been hemorrhaging money and military men and women, and you need to downsize that and basically remind the world that we can actually achieve the things that we say we're going to do. And this is what they've been trying to find a handle to get Barack Obama at, but he's just been too good at tracking down terrorists and rebalancing the American strategic forces.
Steve, after a season of having to listen to Republican presidential campaigns, campaigners on debate stages saying how eager they are to bomb Iran, I'd like our audience to get a chance to listen to their president discussing with Matt Lauer what he's thinking about in relation to Iran these days.
We have done extensive planning over the last several years about all our various options in the Gulf. And, we are prepared to exercise these options should the need arise. But my goal is to try to resolve this diplomatically, mainly because the only way over the long term we can assure Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon is by getting them to understand it's not in their interest.
Steve, my goal is to resolve this diplomatically. That's the sentence that does not appear in Republican candidate debate prep, apparently.
Well, I think what Republicans are doing is that they think it plays well to do what Dick Cheney did, is to fearmonger, scare Americans enough to think that if you bomb the other guy, if you bomb Iran, as John McCain said, that somehow this is going to play well. That's what Curtis LeMay did. I mean, that's what this kind of knucklehead kind of approach to foreign policy is. What Barack Obama has shown is that he can simultaneously deal with countries like Russia and China and pushing reset with key strategic relations, while at the same time going after bin Laden, al-Awlaki, other terrorists, and trying to figure this out. And with Iran, what he's doing is saying, as he did today, he just tightened the sanctions in Iran. But he's also kept open the door and said if Iran shifts its behavior, drops its nuclear program and potentially its weapons intentions, that it will be welcomed in the international community. And so he's using the clock to demonstrate, in very much like that football game we just watched, the Super Bowl, he's using the clock to figure out what plays to move the world and the United States and its allies into a better place and to give Iran some choices other than being locked in a corner. And I think that if we saw Mitt Romney, given what we know from him right now, there wouldn't be any of that nuance. We would see something that would be much more direct. And I think you would see an utter collapse in the confidence of the rest of the world and the United States in dealing with these problems.
Can't wait for a general election debate devoted exclusively to foreign policy. Steve Clemens of The Atlantic, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Lawrence.